Hello, remedial and grade 12 focus. 120 university entrance exam biology model questions compiled from the human body systems starting from grade 9 to grade 12 biology. This video contains all systems in one. It is very important for remedial and the grade 12 students. I am Dr. Alamayo from Warabe University. Stay with me. Choose the best answer from the given alternatives. Question number 1. A patient suffers from a condition that prevents bile secretion into the small intestine. Which digestive process would be most directly affected? A. Emulsification of fats. B. Digestion of proteins. C. Hydrolysis of starch. D. Absorption of glucose. The answer is A. Emulsification of fats, because bile is produced by the liver and is stored in the gallbladder. It does not contain digestive enzymes but emulsifies fats, breaking large fat globules into smaller droplets. Then this increases the surface area for lipase enzyme to digest lipids. Without bile, fat digestion becomes inefficient. Question number 2. Which sequence correctly represents the path of food through the alimentary canal? A. Mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum. B. Mouth, stomach, esophagus, small intestine, rectum, large intestine. C. Mouth, esophagus, small intestine, stomach, large intestine, rectum. D. Mouth, stomach, small intestine, esophagus, large intestine, rectum. The answer is A. Mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum. Because the alimentary canal is continuous tube through which food passes. The correct order is mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and finally anus. Question number 3. Which pair correctly matches a digestive enzyme with its optimal pH and functions? A. Pepsin, alkaline pH, digestive starch. B. Amylase, neutral pH, digestive carbohydrates. C. Lipase, acidic pH, digestive fat. D. Trypsin, acidic pH, digestive proteins. The answer is B. Amylase, neutral pH, digestive carbohydrates, because salivary amylase works best at neutral pH and begins starch digestion in mouth, whereas pepsin works in acidic pH in the stomach and trypsin works in alkaline environment of the small intestine. Question number 4. Which structure of the small intestine directly increases the efficiency of nutrient absorption by increasing surface area? A. Reg. B. Villi and microvilli. C. Gastric glands. D. Circular muscles. The answer is B, villi and microvilli, because the small intestine contains villi, which is a finger-like projection, and microvilli, which is a teeny folds on epithelial cells. These structures greatly increases surface area, allowing efficient absorption of nutrients. Question number 5. After digestion, fatty acids and glycerol are mainly absorbed through which routes? A. Blood capillaries directly. B. Gastric glands. C. Hepatic portal vein. D. Lacteals and intestinal villi. The answer is D. Lacteals and intestinal villi, because fat digestion products enter lymphatic vessels called lacteals inside the villi. They are transported through lymphatic system before entering the bloodstream. Question number 6. Which accessory organ produces digestive enzymes and hormones that regulate blood glucose levels? A. Liver. B. Gallbladder. C. Pancreas. D. Salivary gland. The answer is C. Pancreas, because the pancreas secretes digestive enzymes which are amylase, lipase, trypsin into the duodenum. It also produces hormones, insulin and glucagon, which regulate blood glucose levels. Question number 7. Which end products are formed after complete digestion of proteins? A. Fatty acids and glycerol. B. Amino acids. C. Glucose and fructose. D. Peptides. The answer is B. Amino acids, because proteins are broken down through protease enzymes, which are pepsin, trypsin, and peptides, until the final products are amino acids, which are absorbed into blood capillaries. Question number 8. A person who lacks lactase enzyme will most likely experience difficulty digesting which food? A. Meat. B. Bread. C. Milk. D. Eggs. The answer is C. Milk, because lactase breaks down lactose or milk sugar into glucose and galactose. Individuals lacking this enzyme develop lactose intolerance. Question number 9. Which of the following is not a function of the stomach? A. Temporary storage of food. B. Protein digestion. C. Mechanical mixing of food. D. Absorption of most nutrients. The answer is D. Absorption of most nutrients, because the stomach mainly performs mechanical digestion and protein digestion using pepsin. Most nutrients absorption occur in the small intestine, not the stomach. Question number 10. Why is the duodenum considered the most active part of digestion? A. It produces bile. B. It receives enzyme from pancreas and bile from liver. C. It absorbs water. D. It forms feces. The answer is B. It receives enzymes from pancreas and bile from liver because the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, receives pancreatic enzymes, bile from the liver or gallbladder. This makes it the major site of chemical digestion. Question number 11. Which type of teeth are specialized for cutting food? A. Molars. B. Premolars. C. Incisors. D. Canines. The answer is C. Incisors, because human dentation includes incisors for cutting, canines for tearing, premolars and molars for grinding. Question number 12. Which process mainly occurs in large intestine? A. Protein digestion. B. Absorption of glucose. C. Absorption of water and salts. D. Fat emulsification. The answer is C. Absorption of water and salts, because the large intestine absorbs water, electrolytes, and vitamins produced by bacteria and forms feces. Question number 13. A student observes that glucose absorbed from the intestine first travels to the liver before reaching other body parts. Which vessel is responsible for this? A. Hepatic portal vein. B. Aorta. C. Lacteal. D. Pulmonary vein. The answer is A. Hepatic portal vein, because water-soluble nutrients such as glucose and amino acids enter blood capillaries and the villi and are transported to the liver through hepatic portal vein. Question number 14. Which structural feature of the small intestine helps maintain a concentration gradient for efficient absorption? A. Thick muscular walls. B. Dense network of capillaries. C. Gastric pits. D. Large lumen. The answer is B. Dense network of capillaries, because each villus contains a rich capillary network which rapidly carries absorbed nutrients away, maintaining a diffusion gradient for continuous absorption. Question number 15. Which combination correctly matches nutrient digestion and its final product? A. Carbohydrates, amino acids. B. Proteins, fatty acids. C. Fats, fatty acids and glycerol. D. Lipids, glucose. The answer is C, fats, fatty acids, and glycerol, because after digestion, carbohydrates converted into monosaccharides, mainly glucose, proteins changed into amino acids, fats changed into fatty acids plus glycerol. These are the observable end products of digestion. Question number 16. A blockage occurs in the right pulmonary artery of a patient. Which immediate physiological effect is most likely? A. Oxygenated blood will not reach body tissues. B. Oxygenated blood will accumulate in the lungs. C. Blood flow from the right ventricle to the lungs will decrease. D. Oxygenated blood will return to the left atrium in excess. The answer is C. Blood flow from the right ventricle to the lungs will decrease because the right pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs for oxygenation. If it is blocked, blood cannot efficiently reach the lungs, reducing oxygenation. Question number 17. Which pathway correctly describes pulmonary circulation? A. Left ventricle to aorta to body tissues to right atrium. B. Right ventricle to pulmonary artery to lungs to left atrium. C. Right atrium to vena cava to lungs to left ventricle. D. Left atrium to pulmonary artery to lungs to right ventricle. The answer is B. Right ventricle to pulmonary artery to lungs to left atrium, because pulmonary circulation transports deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs and returns oxygenated blood to the heart. Question number 18. A patient suffers damage to vessels that contain valves preventing backflow of blood. Which vessels are most likely affected? A. Arteries. B. Arterioles. C. Capillaries. D. Veins. The answer is D. Veins, because veins have valves that prevent the backflow of blood, especially in the limbs where blood moves against gravity towards the heart. Question number 19. A patient shows reduced oxygen transport in the blood despite normal lung function. Which blood component is most likely deficient? A. Platelets. B. Plasma. C. Red blood cells. D. White blood cells. The answer is C. Red blood cells, because red blood cells contain hemoglobin, which binds oxygen and transports it to tissues. Question number 20. A person with blood group AB requires an emergency transfusion. Which blood group can safely donate blood to this person? A, B, AB, and O. B, A and B only. C, only AB. D, only O. The answer is A, B, AB, and O, because blood group AB is the universal recipient, because it has no antigen, no anti-A or anti-B antibodies. Question number 21. An Rh negative mother carries an Rh positive fetus. Why can this become dangerous in later pregnancies? A. The fetus produces antibodies against maternal blood. B. The mother produces antibodies that attack fetal red blood cells. C. The fetus develops excessive hemoglobin. D. Maternal blood loses oxygen carrying capacity. The answer is B. The mother produces antibodies that attack fetal red blood cells, because during the first pregnancy, maternal exposure to Rh positive fetal blood may trigger anti-Rh antibodies. In later pregnancies, these antibodies can destroy fetal red blood cells, causing hemolytic disease of the newborn. Question number 22. Why are individuals with blood group O negative considered important universal donors? A. Their blood contains both antigens. B. Their blood has excess hemoglobin. C. Their plasma lacks antibodies. D. Their blood lacks A, B, and Rh antigens. The answer is D. Their blood lacks A, B, and Rh antigens, because O negative blood lacks A, B, and Rh antigens, so it does not trigger immune reaction in recipients. Question number 23. Which health benefit can occur in regular blood donors? A. Permanent increase in blood volume. B. Decreased immune system function. C. Reduced risk of excessive iron accumulation. D. Loss of red blood cells permanently. The answer is C. Reduced risk of excessive iron accumulation, because regular blood donation can help reduce excess iron levels, which may decrease risk of certain cardiovascular diseases. Question number 24. What is the primary function of the lymphatic system related to circulation? A. Producing hormones. B. Returning tissue fluid to the bloodstream. C. Producing red blood cells. D. Pumping blood throughout the body. The answer is B. Returning tissue fluids to the bloodstream, because the lymphatic system collects excess tissue fluid or lymph, and returns it to the circulatory system, preventing tissue swelling. Question number 25. Which structure filters lymph and contains immune cells that detect pathogens? A. Lymph nodes. B. Arteries. C. Veins. D. Capillaries. The answer is A. Lymph nodes, because lymph nodes contain lymphocytes and macrophages, which trap and destroy pathogens. Question number 26. A person receives a vaccine that stimulates the body to produce antibodies. This is an example of A. Innate immunity, B. Artificial active immunity, C. Artificial passive immunity, D. Natural passive immunity. The answer is B. Artificial active immunity, because vaccines introduce antigens that stimulate the body to produce its own antibodies, providing long-term protection. Question number 27. Why are lymph nodes essential for immune defense? A. They produce oxygen for blood. B. They store nutrients. C. They filter lymph and activate immune cells. D. They produce digestive enzymes. The answer is C. They filter lymph and activate immune cells, because lymph nodes trap pathogens and activate lymphocytes, linking the lymphatic system with immune responses. Question number 28. Varicose veins are most likely caused by A. Increased arterial pressure, B. Failure of venous valves, C. Blocked capillaries, D. Reduced red blood cells. The answer is B. Failure of venous valves, because when venous valves fail, blood accumulates in veins, causing swelling and twisting of veins, known as varicose veins. Question number 29. Elephantiasis results primarily from A. Blockage of lymph vessels by parasitic infection, B. Destruction of red blood cells, C. Excess production of lymphocytes, D. Arterial blockage. The answer is A. Blockage of lymph vessels by parasitic infection, because elephantiasis is caused by filarial worms that block lymphatic vessels, leading to severe swelling due to lymph accumulation. Question number 30. Leukemia affects the circulatory and immune systems mainly because it A. Reduces platelet production, B. causes uncontrolled production of abnormal white blood cells. C. Increases hemoglobin levels. D. Destroys lymph vessels. The answer is B. Causes uncontrolled production of abnormal white blood cells. Because leukemia is a cancer of blood-forming tissue where abnormal white blood cells proliferate uncontrollably, impairing immunity and normal blood functions. Question number 31. A patient has severe damage to the alveoli in the lungs. Which process will be most directly affected? A. Transport of oxygen by hemoglobin. B. Production of carbon dioxide in cells. C. Pumping of blood by the heart. D. Diffusion of oxygen into the blood. The answer is D. Diffusion of oxygen into the blood. Because alveoli are tiny air sacs where gas exchange occurs. Oxygen diffuses from the alveoli into capillaries of the circulatory system. If alveoli are damaged, oxygen cannot efficiently enter the blood, affecting the entire circulatory system. Question number 32. During inhalation, which combination of events occurs? A. Diaphragm relaxes and the thoracic cavity decreases. B. Diaphragm contracts and the thoracic cavity increases. C. Rib cage moves downward and the lung volume decreases. D. Air pressure inside lungs increases. The answer is B. Diaphragm contracts and the thoracic cavity increases because during inhalation, the diaphragm contracts and flattens, the rib cage moves upward and outward, thoracic cavity volume increases, and air pressure inside the lungs decreases, allowing air to enter the lungs. Question number 33. Why are alveoli surrounded by many capillaries? A. To store oxygen. B. To increase blood pressure. C. To maximize diffusion of gases. D. To produce red blood cells. The answer is C. To maximize diffusion of gases, because the close association between alveoli and the capillaries provides a large surface area and short diffusion distance, allowing rapid exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between air and the blood. Question number 34. Which structure ensures that air entering the lung is clean, moist, and warm? A. Bronchioles. B. Nasal cavity. C. Alveoli. D. Diaphragm. The answer is B. Nasal cavity, because the nasal cavity contains hairs, mucus, and a rich blood supply that filter dust particles, warm incoming air, and moisten it before it enters the lungs. Question number 35. Why is hemoglobin essential for efficient gas exchange? A. It transports oxygen from lungs to body tissues. B. It increases lung capacity. C. It produces carbon dioxide. D. It absorbs oxygen in the nasal cavity. The answer is A. It transports oxygen from lungs to body tissue because hemoglobin in red blood cell binds oxygen in the lungs and transports it through the circulatory system to body tissues where it is used for cellular respiration. Question number 36. Long-term smoking damages cilia in the respiratory tract. What is the most likely consequence? A. Increased oxygen diffusion. B. Accumulation of dust and pathogens in the lungs. C. Increased production of red blood cells. D. Increased lung elasticity. The answer is B. Accumulation of dust and pathogens in the lungs, because cilia are teeny hair-like structures that remove dust and microbes from respiratory tract. Smoking destroys cilia, causing mucus and harmful particles to accumulate, increasing the risk of infections and lung disease. Question number 37. Regular cannabis smoking can impair lung function mainly because it A. Increases alveolar surface area. B. Improves oxygen diffusion. C. Causes inflammation and irritation of airways. D. Strengthens respiratory muscles. The answer is C. Causes inflammation and irritation of airways because cannabis smoke contains chemicals that irritate and inflame the respiratory tract, reducing lung efficiency and potentially causing chronic bronchitis like symptoms. Question number 38. If the intercostal muscle fails to contract, what will be the immediate effect? A. Lungs will increase in size. B. Thoracic cavity cannot expand properly. C. Oxygen concentration in alveoli increases. D. Blood circulation stops. The answer is B. Thoracic cavity cannot expand properly because intercostal muscles move the rib cage during breathing. If they fail to contract, the thoracic cavity cannot expand, this reducing inhalation and limiting air entry into the lungs. Question number 39. A disease that causes narrowing of bronchioles leading to difficulty in breathing is A. Asthma. B. Leukemia. C. Hypertension. D. Varicose veins. The answer is A. Asthma, because asthma is a respiratory disorder in which bronchioles become inflamed and constricted, this reducing airflow and causing wheezing and difficulty breathing. Question number 40. Which structural feature of alveoli most significantly increases the efficiency of gas exchange? A. Thick walls. B. Small surface area. C. Thin epithelial walls. D. Large blood vessels inside alveoli. The answer is C. Thin epithelial walls. Because alveoli has extremely thin walls, or it is one cell thick, allowing rapid diffusion of oxygen into the blood and the carbon dioxide out of the blood. Question number 41. A patient suffers damage to muscles that work voluntarily and attach to bones through tendons. Which type of muscle is affected? A. Smooth muscle. B. Cardiac muscle. C. Skeletal muscle. D. Involuntary muscle. The answer is C. Skeletal muscle, because skeletal muscles are voluntary muscles attached to bones by tendons. They contract to produce body movements such as walking or lifting objects. Question number 42. When a person bends the forearm at the elbow, what happens to the biceps and the triceps muscles? A. Both contract simultaneously. B. Both relax simultaneously. C. Triceps contract while biceps relax. D. Biceps contract while triceps relax. The answer is D. Biceps contract while triceps relax, because skeletal muscles work in antagonistic pairs. During elbow flexion, biceps contract, triceps relax. When the arm extends, the opposite occurs. Question number 43. Why is ATP essential for skeletal muscle contraction? A. It strengthens bones. B. It provides energy for sliding of muscle filaments. C. It transports oxygen to muscles. D. It prevents muscle relaxation. The answer is B. It provides energy for sliding of muscle filaments, because muscle contraction occurs through the sliding filament mechanism, where actin and the myosin filaments slide past each other. ATP supplies the energy required for this movement. Question number 44. What is the primary function of the human skeleton? A. Produce hormones. B. Produce oxygen for cells. C. Digest food. D. Support body and protect vital organs. The answer is D. Support the body and protect vital organs, because the skeleton provides support in the body shape, protects organs such as the brain, heart, and the lungs, enables movement with muscles, and produce blood cells in bone marrow. Question number 45. Which group of bones belong to the axial skeleton? A. Femur, tibia, fibula. B. Humerus, radius, ulna. C. Skull, vertebral column, ribs. D. Pelvis and shoulder girdle. The answer is C. Skull, vertebral column, and ribs. Because the axial skeleton forms the body's central axis and includes the skull, vertebral column, rib cage, and the appendicular skeleton includes limbs and girdles. Question number 46. Which bone is part of the appendicular skeleton and allows movement of the upper limbs? A. Sternum. B. Humerus. C. Vertebra. D. Rib. The answer is B. Humerus. Because the humerus is the long bone of the upper arm and is part of the appendicular skeleton, which includes bones responsible for movement. Question number 47. Why are joints essential for movement in human body? A. They connect bones and allow movement between them. B. They produce blood cells. C. They generate muscle contraction. D. They produce hormones. The answer is A. They connect bones and allow movement between them because a joint is the point where two or more bones meet. Joints allow flexibility and movement of the skeleton. Question number 48. A joint that allows movement in many directions, such as the shoulder joint, is classified as A. Hinge joint. B. Ball and socket joint. C. Pivot joint. D. Fixed joint. The answer is B. Ball and socket joint, because ball and socket joints allow movement in multiple directions and rotations. Example includes the shoulder and hip joints. Question number 49. A knee injury prevents a person from bending the leg. Which type of joint is most likely affected? A. Ball and socket joint. B. Pivot joint. C. Hinge joint. D. Gliding joint. The answer is C. Hinge joint, because the knee joint is a hinge joint, allowing movement mainly in one direction or flexion and extensions, similar to a door hinge. Question number 50. Why is coordination between the muscular and skeletal system essential for movement? A. Muscle produce bones. B. Bones move independently of muscles. C. Muscles contract and pull on bones to produce movement. D. Bones supply oxygen to muscles. The answer is C. Muscles contract and pull on bones to produce movement, because movement occurs when muscles contract and pull on bones at joints. Without this interaction between muscles and the skeleton, voluntary body movement would not occur. Question number 51. A blockage occurs in the vas deferens of a male. Which process will be most directly affected? A. Production of sperm in the testes. B. Transport of sperm from testes to urethra. C. Production of testosterone. D. Formation of seminal fluid. The answer is B. Transport of sperm from testes to urethra. Because the vas deferens is a duct that carries sperm from the epididymis to urethra during ejaculation. If it is blocked, sperm cannot reach the urethra, preventing fertilization. Question number 52. Which structure is the most common site of fertilization in humans? A. Ovary. B. Uterus. C. Fallopian tube or oviduct. D. Cervix. The answer is C. Fallopian tube or oviduct, because fertilization usually occurs in the fallopian tube, where sperm meets the ovum released during ovulation. Question number 53. Which statement correctly compares spermatogenesis and oogenesis? A. Both produces 4 functional gametes. B. Spermatogenesis produces 4 sperm while oogenesis produces 1 ovum and polar bodies. C. Oogenesis occurs continuously throughout life. D. Spermatogenesis produces only 1 functional gamete. The answer is B. Spermatogenesis produces 4 sperm while oogenesis produces 1 ovum and polar bodies. Because during spermatogenesis, 1 primary spermatocyte forms 4 functional sperm cells. During oogenesis, 1 primary oocyte forms 1 functional ovum and 3 polar bodies. Question number 54. Ovulation typically occurs around day 14 of a 28-day menstrual cycle due to a surge of which hormone? A. Progesterone. B. Follicle stimulating hormone. C. Luteinizing hormone. D. Estrogen. The answer is C. Luteinizing hormone, because a sudden luteinizing hormone surge triggers ovulation, which is the release of a mature egg from the ovary. Question number 55. During the early phase of the menstrual cycle, increased estrogen levels inhibit the secretion of follicle stimulating hormone. This is an example of A. Positive feedback. B. Negative feedback. C. Hormonal imbalance. D. Enzyme regulation. The answer is B. Negative feedback, because in negative feedback, increased hormone levels reduces the secretion of other hormones to maintain balance in the body. Question number 56. Why does a high concentration of estrogen shortly before ovulation trigger a surge in luteinizing hormone secretion? A. It causes positive feedback on the pituitary gland. B. It stimulates negative feedback mechanisms. C. It inhibits the hypothalamus. D. It stops follicle development. The answer is A. It causes positive feedback on the pituitary gland, because just before ovulation, high estrogen level triggers positive feedback, stimulating the pituitary gland to release a large amount of luteinizing hormone, causing ovulation. Question number 57. Why must the sperm reach the egg within a short time after ovulation? A. The ovum survives only about 24 hours after release. B. The sperm die immediately after entering the female body. C. Fertilization occurs only in the uterus. D. Ovulation occurs continuously. The answer is A. The ovum survives only about 24 hours after release because the ovum remains viable for about 12 to 24 hours after ovulation. If fertilization does not occur within this period, the egg degenerates. Question number 58. Which hormone maintains the uterine lining during pregnancy? A. Estrogen. B. Follicle stimulating hormone. C. Testosterone. D. Progesterone. The answer is D. Progesterone. Because progesterone maintains the uterine lining or endometrium so that the developing embryo can remain attached and continue growing. Question number 59. If the pituitary gland failed to produce follicle stimulating hormone, what would be the most likely consequence? A. Increased ovulation. B. No follicle development in the ovary. C. Increased progesterone production. D. Immediate fertilization. The answer is B. No follicle development in the ovary because follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the growth and the development of ovarian follicles. Without follicle stimulating hormone, follicles cannot mature, preventing ovulation. Question number 60. After fertilization, the zygote begins diving while traveling towards the uterus. Why is implantation in the uterus important? A. It provides nutrients and protection for embryo development. B. It allows oxygen exchange with the lungs. C. It produces sperm cells. D. It initiates the menstrual cycle. The answer is A. It provides nutrients and protection for embryo development because implantation occurs when the blastocyte attached to the uterine lining, allowing the embryo to obtain nutrients and oxygen through placenta during development. Question number 61. Which part of a neuron conducts nerve impulse away from cell body towards another neuron or effector? A. Dendrite. B. Axon. C. Cell body. D. Synaptic knob. The answer is B. Axon. Because axon is a long extension of neuron that transmit impulses away from the cell body towards other neurons, muscles, or glands. Question number 62. If dendrites of a neuron are damaged, which process will be most affected? A. Production of neurotransmitters. B. Formation of myelin sheaths. C. Transmission of impulses to muscles. D. Reception of nerve impulses. The answer is D. Reception of nerve impulses. Because dendrites receive signals from other neurons and transmit them towards the cell body. Damage to dendrites reduces the neuron's ability to receive incoming impulse. Question number 63. A neuron that transmits impulses from the central nervous system to muscle or glands is called A. Sensory neuron. B. Motor neuron. C. Interneuron. D. Relay neuron. The answer is B. Motor neuron. Because motor neurons carry impulses from the central nervous system to effectors such as muscles and glands to produce responses. Question number 64. Bundles of nerve fibers in central nervous system are called A. Nerve tracts. B. Nerves. C. Ganglia. D. Synapses. The answer is A. Nerve tracts. Because in the central nervous system, bundles of axons are called nerve tracts, whereas in the peripheral nervous system, they are called nerves. Question number 65. Why is the myelin sheath important in nerve impulse conduction? A. It produces neurotransmitter. B. It insulates axon and speeds impulse transmission. C. It stores nerve impulses. D. It produces energy for neurons. The answer is B. It insulates axons and speeds impulse transmission because the myelin sheath acts as an insulator and allows impulses to travel faster through saltatory conduction, where impulses jump between nodes of Ranvier. Question number 66. During nerve transmission, neurotransmitters are released from A. Dendrites. B. Myelin sheaths. C. Axon terminals. D. Cell bodies. The answer is C. Axon terminals, because at the axon terminal, neurotransmitters are released into synaptic cleft to transmit signals to the next neuron. Question number 67. A toxin blocks the release of neurotransmitter at synapses. What would most likely happen? A. Faster nerve impulse transmission. B. Increased muscle contraction. C. Failure of communication between neurons. D. Increased sensory perception. The answer is C. Failure of communication between neurons. Because without neurotransmitters, signals cannot cross the synaptic cleft, then preventing communication between neurons. Question number 68. Which two systems together make up the peripheral nervous system? A. Somatic and autonomic systems. B. Brain and spinal cord. C. Cerebrum and cerebellum. D. Sensory and motor cortex. The answer is A. Somatic and autonomic systems, because the peripheral nervous system includes somatic nervous system, which is voluntary action, and autonomic nervous system, which is involuntary action. Question number 69. Which part of the brain controls thinking, reasoning, memory, and voluntary movements? A. Cerebellum. B. Cerebrum. C. Medulla oblongata. D. Hypothalamus. The answer is B. Cerebrum, because the cerebrum is the largest part of the brain responsible for higher mental functions, voluntary movement, and memory and reasoning. Question number 70. Damage to the medulla oblongata may disrupt which vital function? A. Vision. B. Balance. C. Breathing and heartbeat. D. Memory storage. The answer is C. Breathing and heartbeat, because medulla oblongata regulates vital involuntary functions such as breathing, heartbeat, and blood pressure. Question number 71. Why can reflex action occur even if the brain is not involved immediately? A. The spinal cord processes reflex responses. B. Hormones control reflexes. C. Muscles act independently. D. Sensory organs control reflexes. The answer is A. The spinal cord processes reflex responses, because the spinal cord acts as a reflex center, allowing rapid responses to harmful stimuli without waiting for signals from the brain. Question number 72. Which activity is controlled mainly by the somatic nervous system? A. Digestion. B. Heartbeat. C. Walking. D. Blood pressure regulation. The answer is C. Walking, because the somatic nervous system controls voluntary movement such as walking, writing, or speaking. Question number 73. Which body function is regulated primarily by the autonomic nervous system? A. Skeletal muscle contraction. B. Conscious decision making. C. Regulation of digestive processes. D. Reading and writing. The answer is C. Regulation of digestive processes, because the autonomic nervous system controls involuntary activities, including digestion, heart rate, and glandular secretion. Question number 74. Which sequence correctly describes the pathway of reflex arc? A. Receptor to motor neuron to sensory neuron to effector. B. Receptor to sensory neuron to interneuron to motor neuron to effector. C. Effector to motor neuron to sensory neuron to receptor. D. Sensory neuron to receptor to motor neuron to effector. The answer is B. Receptor to sensory neuron to interneuron to motor neuron to effector. Because reflex arc follows this pathway. 1. Receptor detects stimulus. 2. Sensory neuron carries impulse to the spinal cord. 3. Interneuron processes the signal. 4. Motor neuron carries responses. 5. Effector or muscles or glands produces responses. Question number 75. Why are reflex action important for survival? A. They allow conscious thinking. B. They produce hormones. C. They provide rapid responses to harmful stimuli. D. They store memories. The answer is C. They provide rapid responses to harmful stimuli because reflex action occurs automatically and rapidly, protecting the body from injury by responding to dangerous stimuli before conscious awareness. Question number 76. A person touches a very hot object and immediately withdraws their hand. Which receptor in the skin is primarily responsible for detecting this stimuli? A. Photoreceptor. B. Thermoreceptor and nociceptors. C. Chemoreceptors. D. Mechanoreceptors. The answer is B. Thermoreceptors and nociceptors. Because thermoreceptors detect temperature changes, while nociceptors detect pain. When touching a hot object, both receptors are stimulated and send signals through sensory neurons to trigger a protective response. Question number 77. If the melanocytes in the skin stop producing melanin, which condition is most likely to occur? A. Increased sensitivity to ultraviolet radiation. B. Loss of tactile sensation. C. Inability to sweat. D. Loss of hair growth. The answer is A. Increased sensitivity to ultraviolet radiation. Because melanocytes produce melanin, which protects the skin from UV radiation. Without melanin, skin becomes more vulnerable to sun damage and skin cancer risk. Question number 78. Why do spices food stimulate pain receptors rather than taste receptors? A. They activate mechanoreceptors. B. They stimulate nociceptor in the tongues. C. They stimulate thermoreceptors only. D. They inhibit taste buds. The answer is B. They stimulate nociceptors in the tongue because compounds such as capsaicin in the spice of food activate pain receptors or nociceptors in the tongue rather than taste receptors, creating sensation of burning. Question number 79. A person with damage to olfactory receptors will most likely experience A. Loss of taste completely, B. Blurred vision, C. Loss of hearing, D. Reduced ability to detect odors. The answer is D. Reduced ability to detect odors because olfactory receptors in the nasal cavity detect odor molecules. Damage to this receptor cause anosmia, the inability to smell. No, the inability to smell. Question number 80. Which structure of the eye controls the amount of light entering to the eye? A. Retina, B. Iris, C. Lens, D. Cornea. The answer is B. Iris, because the iris regulates the size of the pupil, controlling how much light enters the eye depending on light intensity. Question number 81. A person has difficulty seeing at night but can see well during the day. Which retinal cells are likely malfunctioning? A. Rods, B. Cones, C. Bipolar cells, D. Ganglion cells. The answer is A. Rods, because rods are responsible for vision in dim light. Damage to rods result in night blindness, while cones function mainly in the bright light and the color vision. Question number 82. Which part of the eye focuses light onto the retina? A. Sclera, B. Lens, C. Optic nerve, D. Choroid. The answer is B. Lens. The lens changes its curvature through accommodation to focus light precisely onto the retina. Question number 83. If the eustachian tube becomes blocked during air travel, what problem is most likely to occur? A. Loss of hearing permanently, B. Damage to the cochlea, C. Inability to maintain equal air pressure in the middle ear, D. Loss of balance. The answer is C. Inability to maintain equal air pressure in the middle ear, because the eustachian tube equalizes pressure between the middle ear and the external environment. Blockage leads to ear discomfort or temporary hearing problems. Question number 84. Which part of the ear converts sound vibration into nerve impulses? A. Semicircular canals. B. Auditory ossicles. C. Eardrum. D. Cochlear. The answer is D. Cochlear, because inside the cochlear, hair cells convert mechanical vibration into electrical signals that travel to the brain via auditory nerve. Question number 85. Which structure is mainly responsible for maintaining balance and body orientation? A. Cochlear. B. Vestibule and semicircular canals. C. Tympanic membrane. D. Auditory nerve. The answer is B. Vestibule and semicircular canals, because the semicircular canals detect rotational movement, while the vestibule detects linear motion and head position, helping maintain balance. Question number 86. Damage to the optic nerve would most directly result in A. Loss of vision. B. Loss of eye movement. C. Loss of pupil control. D. Loss of blinking reflex. The answer is A. Loss of vision, because the optic nerve transmits visual signals from the retina to the brain. Damage interrupts signal transmission, causing blindness in affected eye. Question number 87. Which structure protects the eye and helps maintain its shape? A. Retina. B. Cornea. C. Lens. D. Sclera. The answer is D. Sclera, because the sclera is the tough white outer layer of eye that protects internal structure and maintains the shape of the eyeball. Question number 88. Why does a person temporarily lose hearing after exposure to very loud noise? A. Damage to the tympanic membrane only. B. Temporary dysfunction of hair cells in the cochlear. C. Blockage of eustachian tube. D. Damage to the semicircular canals. The answer is B. Temporary dysfunction of hair cells in the cochlear, because loud sounds overstimulate the hair cells of the cochlear, causing temporary hearing loss. Prolonged exposure may lead to permanent damage. Question number 89. Which sense organ relies primarily on chemoreceptors? A. Eye. B. Ear. C. Nose. D. Skin. The answer is C. Nose, because the nose contains olfactory chemoreceptors that detect chemical molecules in the air and convert them into nerve signals interpreted as smell. Question number 90. A person experiences difficulty focusing on the nearby object as they age. This condition occurs because A. The lens loses elasticity. B. The retina loses photoreceptors. C. The optic nerve degenerates. D. The cornea becomes opaque. The answer is A. The lens loses elasticity because with age, the lens becomes less elastic, reducing its ability to change shape for near vision. This condition is known as presbyopia. Question number 91. Which characteristic best distinguishes endocrine glands from exocrine glands? A. Endocrine glands produce enzymes, while exocrine glands produce hormone. B. Endocrine glands release secretions through ducts. C. Endocrine glands release hormones directly into the bloodstream. D. Endocrine glands release secretion directly into the blood. The answer is C. Endocrine gland release hormones directly into the bloodstream because endocrine glands are ductless glands that release hormones directly into the bloodstream. This allowing hormones to reach distant target organs. In contrast, exocrine glands secrete substances through ducts. Example, sweat glands and salivary glands. Question number 92. Which gland acts as the main link between the nervous system and endocrine system? A. Thyroid gland. B. Hypothalamus. C. Pituitary gland. D. Pineal gland. The answer is B. Hypothalamus because the hypothalamus integrates nerve signals and controls endocrine activities by releasing and inhibiting hormones that regulate the pituitary gland. Question number 93. A student suffers from excessive growth during childhood, leading to abnormal height. Which hormone is most likely responsible? A. Thyroxine. B. Insulin. C. Cortisol. D. Growth hormone. The answer is D. Growth hormone because excess secretion of growth hormone from the anterior pituitary gland during childhood causes gigantism, characterized by excessive growth of bones. Question number 94. Which hormones secreted by the posterior pituitary gland helps regulate water balance in the body? A. Oxytocin. B. Thyroxine. C. Antidiuretic hormone. D. Prolactin. The answer is C. Antidiuretic hormone because antidiuretic hormone increases water reabsorption in the kidney, helping maintain body fluid balance. Question number 95. Which hormone stimulates uterine contractions during childbirth? A. Estrogen. B. Progesterone. C. Oxytocin. D. Prolactin. The answer is C. Oxytocin because oxytocin released by the posterior pituitary gland stimulate uterine contractions during labor and also promotes milk ejection during breastfeeding. Question number 96. A deficiency of iodine in the diet may lead to enlargement of which gland? A. Adrenal gland. B. Thyroid gland. C. Pancreas. D. Pituitary gland. The answer is B. Thyroid gland, because the thyroid gland requires iodine to produce thyroid hormones or T3 and T4. Iodine deficiency leads to goiter, an enlargement of the thyroid gland. Question number 97. Which hormone lowers blood glucose level? A. Insulin. B. Glucagon. C. Cortisol. D. Adrenaline. The answer is A. Insulin, because insulin produced by the pancreas promotes uptake of glucose by body cells and converts excess glucose into glycogen, thereby lowering blood sugar levels. Question number 98. If the parathyroid gland fails to function properly, which mineral balance would be most affected? A. Sodium. B. Potassium. C. Calcium. D. Iron. The answer is C. Calcium, because the parathyroid hormone regulates calcium level in the blood. A malfunction can cause abnormal calcium level, affecting bones and the nerve function. Question number 99. Which gland produces hormones that help the body respond to stress and emergency situations? A. Adrenal gland. B. Thyroid gland. C. Pituitary gland. D. Pineal gland. The answer is A. Adrenal gland, because adrenal gland release hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare the body for fight or flight response during stress. Question number 100. Which hormone secreted by the anterior pituitary gland stimulates milk production in mammals? A. Oxytocin. B. Prolactin. C. Antidiuretic hormone. D. Thyroxine. The answer is B. Prolactin, because prolactin stimulates milk production in mammary glands after childbirth. Question number 101. Which endocrine gland is mainly responsible for regulating the sleep-wake cycle? A. Pituitary gland. B. Pancreas. C. Thyroid gland. D. Pineal gland. The answer is D. Pineal gland, because pineal gland secretes melatonin, which regulates circadian rhythms and sleep patterns. Question number 102. Which hormone released by pancreas increases blood glucose level? A. Insulin. B. Glucagon. C. Antidiuretic hormone. D. Thyroxine. The answer is B, glucagon, because glucagon stimulates the liver to convert glycogen into glucose, this increasing blood sugar levels. Question number 103. Which hormone secreted by the testes is responsible for development of male secondary sexual characteristics? A, estrogen, B, progesterone, C, testosterone, D, oxytocin. The answer is C, testosterone, because testosterone produced by the testes stimulates development of male secondary sexual characteristics such as deeper voice, facial hair, and muscle growth. Question number 104. Which hormone produced by the ovaries regulates menstrual cycle and the development of female characteristics? A, estrogen, B, testosterone, C, cortisol, D, melatonin. The answer is estrogen, or A, estrogen, because estrogen secreted by ovaries regulates female reproductive development and control menstrual cycle. Question number 105. The thymus gland is most active during which stage of life? A, childhood, B, adulthood, C, old age, D, after puberty only. The answer is A, childhood, because the thymus gland is large and active during childhood, producing hormones that help develop T lymphocytes, which are essential for immunity. Question number 106. Why is the pituitary gland called the master gland? A, it produces digestive enzymes. B, it directly controls nerve impulse. C, it regulates the activity of other endocrine glands. D, it produces the largest number of hormones. The answer is C, it regulates the activity of other endocrine glands, because the pituitary gland secretes hormones that stimulate or regulate other endocrine glands, such as the thyroid, adrenal glands, and gonads. Question number 107. Which hormone from the anterior pituitary stimulates the thyroid gland to release thyroxine? A, ACTH, B, TSH or thyroid stimulating hormone, C, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, D, GH. The answer is B, thyroid stimulating hormone, because thyroid stimulating hormone stimulates the thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormones, T3 and T4. Question number 108. Which hormone stimulates sperm production in males? A, follicle stimulating hormones, B, luteinizing hormones, C, estrogen, D, prolactin. The answer is A. Follicle stimulating hormone, because follicle stimulating hormone stimulates spermatogenesis in the testes. Question number 109. Negative feedback in the endocrine system helps to A. Increase hormone production continuously. B. Maintain hormonal balance in the body. C. Stop hormone secretion permanently. D. Prevent endocrine glands from functioning. The answer is B. Maintain hormonal balance in the body, because negative feedback mechanisms regulate hormone levels to maintain homeostasis by reducing hormone secretion when levels become too high. Question number 110. Which hormone secreted by the adrenal medulla prepares the body for fight or flight responses? A. Cortisol. B. Adrenaline. C. Insulin. D. Thyroxine. The answer is B. Adrenaline, because adrenaline or epinephrine increases heart rate, blood pressure, and energy supply, preparing the body to respond quickly to danger. Question number 111. Which structure of the kidney nephron is primarily responsible for the ultrafiltration of blood? A. Loop of Henle. B. Collecting duct. C. Glomerulus. D. Distal convoluted tubule. The answer is C. Glomerulus, because the glomerulus, a network of capillaries inside Bowman's capsule, filters blood under high pressure. Small molecules such as water, glucose, amino acids, and salts pass into Bowman's capsule, forming the glomerular filtrate, while large molecules like proteins and blood cells remain in the blood. Question number 112. A patient produces urine containing glucose even though blood glucose levels are normal. Which nephron process is most likely malfunctioning? A. Ultrafiltration. B. Selective reabsorption. C. Tubular secretion. D. Osmosis in the loop of Henle. The answer is B. Selective reabsorption, because normally glucose is completely reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubules during selective reabsorption. If glucose appears in the urine despite normal blood glucose levels, the reabsorption mechanism in the nephron is defective. Question number 113. Which part of the nephron plays the greatest role in concentrating urine by establishing an osmotic gradient? A. Bowman's capsule. B. Renal pelvis. C. Proximal convoluted tubule. D. Loop of Henle. The answer is D. Lupophenol. Because the lupophenol creates a counter-current mechanism that establishes an osmotic gradient in the kidney medulla. This gradient allows water to be reabsorbed efficiently, concentrating urine. Question number 114. Which hormone increases water reabsorption in the kidney, helping maintain osmoregulation? A. Insulin. B. Thyroxine. C. Antidiuretic hormone. D. Glucagon. The answer is C. Antidiuretic hormone, because antidiuretic hormone increases permeability of the collecting ducts, allowing more water to be reabsorbed back into bloodstream. This helps regulate body fluid balance and osmotic pressure. Question number 115. A person who drinks a large amount of water will most likely experience A. Increased antidiuretic hormone secretion and concentrated urine. B. Decreased antidiuretic hormone secretion and dilute urine. C. Increased aldosterone secretion. D. Increased glucose filtration. The answer is B. Decreased antidiuretic hormone secretion and the dilute hormone, because when the body has excess water, antidiuretic hormone secretion decreases, reducing water reabsorption in the kidney. As a result, large amount of dilute urine are produced. Question number 116. Which function of the urinary system directly contributes to chemical regulation and homeostasis? A. Regulating blood pH by excreting hydrogen ions. B. Maintaining blood glucose levels. C. Producing digestive enzymes. D. Absorbing oxygen in the blood. The answer is A. Regulating blood pH by excreting hydrogen ions, because the kidney help maintain acid-base balance by regulating the excretion of hydrogen ions and reabsorption of biocarbonates or bicarbonate ions, thus stabilizing blood pH. Question number 117. Which of the following best explains how the urinary system contributes to thermoregulation? A. Kidney produce heat during metabolism. B. Sweat glands are controlled by kidney. C. Water balance controlled by kidneys influences sweating and body temperature. D. Kidneys directly cool the blood. The answer is C. Water balance controlled by kidneys influences sweating and body temperature, because the kidneys regulate water balance, which influences the body's ability to produce sweat. Sweating is essential for thermoregulation, helping maintain stable body temperature. Question number 118. Which of the following substances normally completely reabsorbed from the filtrate in the healthy person? A. Urea. B. Glucose. C. Creatine. D. Uric acid. The answer is B. Glucose. Because under normal conditions, all glucose filtered by the kidney is reabsorbed in proximal tubule. Presence of glucose in the urine or glycosuria often indicate disorders such as diabetes mellitus. Question number 119. Which structure carries urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder? A. Urethra. B. Renal artery. C. Ureter. D. Collecting duct. The answer is C. Ureter, because the ureter is a muscular tube that transports urine from the renal pelvis of the kidney to the urinary bladder through peristaltic movements. Question number 120. A failure of the kidney to remove nitrogenous wastes from the blood would most directly disrupt A. Digestion. B. Circulation. C. Respiration. D. Homeostasis. The answer is D. Homeostasis, because the kidney remove metabolic wastes such as urea, uric acid, and creatine. Failure to remove these wastes leads to toxicity in the blood, disrupting homeostasis, the body's stable internal environment. That is all about this video. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this lesson, hit the like button, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you. See you in the next video. Thank you.